is there by your own admission that men are basically not reporting the instances of unwanted touching from women due to this social stigma. We don't
do it because a lot of guys don't even know that that's the case. Probably she walked by and touched, his buduku, and all of a sudden, he's like, oh man, she touched me. At least I got touched at least once. I'm not saying that's okay, but for guys, that might be what goes through their mind. They don't even realize that they just got touched, right? So a lot of these numbers, we have to be careful. And the fact that, here's the thing, guys. All these started because females wanted to be in male spaces. As simple as that. They wanted to be in male spaces. If you want to be in male spaces, you have to be aware that you're going to be around testosterone. But they want to be a judge, but not wear the wig, kind of a thing. You know what I'm saying? You want to be the judge, you have to wear the wig.
Don't actually know how bad that social stigma really is, do we?
No, and I mean, that's also what feminists, that's a great point, and I agree with you, because feminists, that is one of, it's also my 60 seconds, right?
Well, we're having a back and forth now, so.
Oh, okay. Well, can I have 60 seconds? Because I would just like to talk a little bit about stigma.
We can't get into a back and forth and then arbitrarily demand whole blocks.
Okay, well, I'm just going to give some statistics, because I think we're on the same page here. I think we've actually found common ground. So the stigma around SA and abuse is what allows these numbers to be underreported. And so I think that because that's what feminists want, is we want men to be comfortable coming forward as well, because we want safety and equality for the sexes. That is what the definition of the term is the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes.
Let me refute these lies, because
I think that some people don't believe that.
All national campaigns that I've seen hyper-focus on women and the abuse of women, already making the supposition that men are the monsters and the criminals who are doing the unwanted touching in the SA. And because of that, because this is done at a national level, at a state level, at a local level, and the organizations and NGOs are all hyper-focusing on women, this stigma towards men is never addressed, because women are only looking at it through the prism of women.
It's not just women who are working on these studies, right, and who are writing these articles.
It doesn't matter. Men. Don't you say men can be feminists?
Yeah.
Okay, so by your criteria, these men who have the same exact worldview as you, they're still hyper-focusing on feminism.
Male feminists are the worst, man. So forget about the female feminists. You will understand by default, right? But male feminists, that's the demographic that a lot of these red pillers need to focus, guys. They're the enforcement of the ideology. Male feminists are just simply the enforcement of the ideology, not the feminists. Right?
Feminism and the idea always starts with the supposition that men are the more violent sex, that they are more often doing these types of SA, sexual assaults, things like this. And what do we end up with? We end up with very skewed numbers based on the criteria, right? Where within just a matter of minutes, we can determine that not only can most of this stuff be replicated, but we can also determine that just based on the viewed categorization of these things, they can't be true. These numbers can't be true.
Okay, now, so I don't understand where you're coming from with how it can't be true, how something can't be true, because again, if you're going off of something being underreported and the data not being there, you're saying, okay, well then this is true, which means this can't be true, which means this, and you're not even going from like actual data.
Do you want me to demonstrate it?
No, I'm okay. I'm talking for now, please.
There we go, more sign language.
So it would be like this.
And you notice how Andrew just glossed over? This is frame. Right here, guys, this is frame. This is how you take frame. She's still trying to control the conversation by sign language. Now, she has some power because of the negotiation that she went through with Brian. Probably Brian showed some weakness during that negotiation. She still thinks she has the leverage. That's why she's overdoing it. And notice, when females have some kind of power, they want to what? Overuse it. At this point, her status in the room is almost gone. Now her frame is gone. Her frame, she has no frame now. And Andrew is like, man, we're not playing this anymore. I'm gonna say what I have to say and whatever. This is a good example.
I feel like you've dominated the conversation for the last few minutes. If that's okay,
I told you.
Well, I thought you just wanted me to demonstrate for you something.
No. I'm actually okay on that. Thank you.
You don't want me to? You asked me a question. You don't want me to answer it?
No. I was actually in the middle of talking.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. No, like that was genuine. I wasn't trying to be.
I know. You're welcome.
Thanks. The
patriarchy is benevolent.
Yes. So I think that the four principles that is a common misconception that, and if you want to refute these, like I would love that. But working to increase equality economically and politically for women, which again, not rooted in female supremacy, but some people think it is. Expanding human choice meaning male, female, everyone. Eliminating gender stratification, which means globally it's
Hang on, can we move back to 2?
Yes. Expanding human choice. And for everybody. And then 3, eliminating gender stratification.
Whatever that means,
most
right?
of the power and money is concentrated
Whatever that means.
to men globally. So sort of making the opportunities there for women. And again, like you have to think about this globally as well. Like we're very U.S. centric, I think, in this debate, but there are definitely countries where women are really, really deprived of any sort of.
Yeah, let's talk about feminism in the Middle East, right? Because right. You're gonna do a lot of the you're gonna really push that one, huh? Like, come on, really? You guys really believe that you want to protect the females in the Middle East? She doesn't. If she wanted to protect them, she wants us, the Westerners, to just do that for them. Nah, we're not doing that. We're talking about the United States and the Western world. That's all we're talking about.
And then the final one is ending sexual violence, which we've talked about quite a lot. So those are the 4 principles of feminism as we see it today. And although there are different places around the world, I guess we can focus, sort of here and globally if you have points on that. Or if you just want to confine it to the U.S., then let me know. But.
Yeah, well, the U.S. is where I live. That's what I'm talking about. But
Okay.
So when we're discussing this idea, especially of no, these numbers are accurate, that actually can't be true. You said no, it actually can be. Well, no, it can't be, because one, you've already admitted that there's a stigma towards reporting, which means that these numbers are already skewed right from the get-go. Here's a good demonstration of this. This is something you'll hear psychologists say a lot, and I'm sure you probably said it yourself, that mental illness probably has always been somewhat near as high as it is right now. It's just that it went underreported, right? That's something that you would say. Or there's just as many transgender people now as there were, or homosexuals. It's just that we didn't have the right numbers because they weren't able to report them correctly, right? Mm-hmm. So it follows then that if it is the case that under all of these circumstances, due to a lack of reporting due to stigma, we didn't have the correct numbers. And so you can suppose that into the data that you have right now for how many there's always been. Right. Why couldn't I do the exact same thing with SA numbers?
No, you can. But how are you going to get how are you going to get the figure that it is more? Are you saying it's more female perpetrators than male perpetrators?
If I look
how could you possibly get that
because
number?
If I look at the raw data and we look at stigmas, right? If we're looking,
we agree on stigma, but the data, how do you have that?
Because the data is not taking into account the stigma towards male reporting.
But it is. But I'm saying there are no reported cases.
Yeah, you can't.
It's not.
I know, God. Yeah,
report the cases if the stigma is there for them to not report.
So yes, given
a lot of people,
how do we come
you know what's crazy? A lot of people were
how,
saying that. A lot of people were saying that she was, she was taking sugar. She was taking sugar, guys. I don't know. She could be. She could have been, guys. But a lot of you guys were saying, no, she's taking sugar. I don't know. She touched her nose multiple times, but I don't know.
Other places, they come up with estimates, studies that you just cited. So how do we come up with an estimate for female perpetrators?
Whether we come up with the estimate or not, we have good reason to doubt the various estimates by RAINN and these other sexual advocacy organizations, especially when I look at the NIS. Because when I look at the NIS, I get totally different numbers, and it's way more comprehensive. It's the largest, most comprehensive data set on planet Earth is the NIS, and that's what it shows. It shows that women are far more likely to abuse their children than men. When women are in positions of dominant power and authority over weaker people than themselves, they're more likely to abuse almost every time. This is also included in healthcare stats. When they are in charge of people who are weaker than them in healthcare situations, they abuse far more than men do.
You keep talking about the NIS, which specific, are you talking about the national, because the specific study that you're talking about, how women are perpetrators more frequently, genuinely cannot find it anywhere on the internet.
Okay, I'll pull up the exact study if you give me just a second.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Because I'm looking at the Bureau of Justice statistics and the FBI and
CNN,
even the CDC.
And remember, guys, and you know what's crazy? The last lady did the same thing. She was saying this and saying that, somehow creating an inflation of your tone makes the argument better. The FES statistic and the police, and that doesn't make it better. And again, guys, this is more of that let me pretend to know what I'm talking about during the debate to appear that I'm a professional at this. And clearly, if you guys notice him, Andrew is breaking her worldview slowly, and slowly. He could have just go to a jugular early on. He didn't want it. He just said, you know what, let me just do it slowly. And this is why at the end she just broke down. This is why she broke down at the end.
And this from the U.S. Department of Justice. Sexual victimization in juvenile facilities reported by Youth 2012.
Okay.
Okay.
And is this where you're saying that
these are all comprehensive?
Female...
These are all comprehensively included inside of
Correct,
the NIS.
Kinopio.
This is what I'm saying is that I have.
Correct, Kinopio. Raising your inflection doesn't make your statements true. Yeah, it doesn't make it. It's a way of you trying to cope with the situation that you don't know what you're talking about.
Each individual study ready for you. You can look also, and we can move to this as well if you want to.
Wait, so is this the one where you're saying that female perpetrators are more frequent? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. That's from the National Incident Study.
Oh, National Incident Study.
Yes.
Okay.
The largest collection of all types of reported data related to abuse, maltreatment of children. 68% of the maltreated children were maltreated by a female, 48% maltreated by a male. And every circumstance, the NIS finds that when women are put in charge of people who are weaker than themselves are more likely to abuse than the stronger sex, that being men. And what's interesting about this is it gives us every reason to believe that if women had the exact same frame and build as men did, that men that they would actually abuse far more often than men do them. Right? So what we're looking at here is we're looking at a huge problem where women who are supposedly being abused by men are doing a whole lot of abuse which is going unreported of children while you're focusing on the scapegoat of men.
Because it's projection. It's a way of just hiding behind the blanket. They're just trying to hide behind the blanket. And we notice this also in politics, how they just accuse somebody doing certain things, but in reality, they're doing it. It's a way of it's a cope mechanism. And females are very, very good at that. Females are very good at that. They're very good at projecting. And because men tend to be very logical, we just get lost in that smoke screen. And we want to defend our position through logic. And females know this. They have that social IQ that men don't have.
Yeah, I don't doubt that women are, unfortunately, a lot of women are abusing children. But the study that you're saying, the only thing that I'm able to find is that 1 in every 25 children in the U.S. experience maltreatment. Neglect is more prevalent than abuse. And then they talk about how for the 4% of children that experience genuine maltreatment and in danger of death. But I'm not seeing anything. It says, girls were sexually abused much more often than boys under the harm standard and endangerment standard, with male perpetrators being more common. That's all I was able to find.
Okay. Would you like for me to actually link it to you? That was just from the juvenile facility study, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what about the NIS data? The NIS data is going to be the most important because it's the most comprehensive collection of it.
It's funny because you keep repeating this talking point about a study that I can't find.
Well, how do you?
I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but
so you think that the National Incident Study is not reporting? Look at her.
She's nervous, guys. I don't know if you guys caught that. Look at her hands. Look at her. She's trying to use every trick in the book.
Repeating this talking point about a study that I can't find.
I cannot find. Please don't send it to me.
Well, how do you?
I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but
look at her hands. So you think that the National Incident Study is not reporting this? Like I could link it to you.
No, I believe it. I'm just saying, like, there are so many more common sources that have different numbers talking about how male perpetrators are more common than the study that you're talking about. Because I genuinely,
I got a little more for you. The U.S. Department.
Can you airdrop it to me?
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has been tracking the data on child abuse and neglect since 1978 with something called the National Incident Study (NIS). The National Incident Study is a congressionally mandated periodic effort of the United States Department of Health and Human Services. There have been 4 such reports, the latest being the NIS-4, which came out 2010. This includes the breakdown. The NIS gathers data from all reporting agencies that any study will pull from these agencies because it's the congressional authority which is gathering that data. The methodology, the NIS uses the standard definitional framework for classifying child maltreatment, including both types of abuse and neglect. These are the legitimate numbers, and feminists have been hiding them under a rock because they don't want to talk about this issue.
I think that is an interesting theory. I think that a lot of the things that you're talking about go more into theory than into fact. And that's okay. I think that goes into what I'm saying is like, just generally, that's why I'm here, is to debunk a lot of the myths.
Well, you can debunk that myth.
Well, again, you said you would send me the study. Cannot find the study that women are more likely to be perpetrators. It doesn't. I genuinely cannot find a single thing. I've been looking for 5-10 minutes.
You've been looking for what? Have you been looking on NIS?
I literally looked at exactly what you said. Cannot find the numbers.
It's okay.
Now, because
Now she's
I'm
lying.
not. This is not trying to be like an appeal to like authority, but I've done like debate my whole life, and like obviously like most.